It's part 5 of the upper extremity, and we're going to be looking at biceps and the other muscles of the anterior arm. Not the forearm, the arm. And where do we get the innervation? We get it from musculocutaneous, which comes off the lateral cord of the brachial plexus. We get the anterior arm. There's 3 muscles in the anterior arm. For whatever reason, the book does not put them together by nerve, but your instructor does, because I like to think about regional anatomy. So the anterior arm here has this muscle, biceps, this muscle underneath biceps is brachialis, and this muscle, coracobrachialis. See, the artist puts it all together. Why can't the scientist? Jeez. So musculocutaneous, that's an indicator, does coracobrachialis. And then over here on this page, next door, we have musculocutaneous, does biceps brachii. So biceps really has 2 names. We always called it biceps, growing up, but then it's actually biceps brachii. Okay, because we do have a biceps femoris that we'll be learning about in the thigh. Okay, so biceps brachii, it's going to do things like flex the elbow and a couple of other things. But basically it's a 2-headed muscle, and it arises from 2 spots. The short head is going to come from coracoid, and the long head is going to come from the subglenoid, supra, not the sub, but the supra, the one above, glenoid tubercle, which is above the glenoid fossa. And let's come over here. Here's the head of humerus, and it's going into the glenoid fossa of the scapula. And there's a little bump up here. Now we're actually seeing, this is the coracoid, and then there's a bump on the ridge above the glenoid fossa. So long head and short head coming from the coracoid. There's 3 things that attach to the coracoid. Okay, the other second one is going to be the coracobrachialis. Then there's a third thing that comes here that's not pictured, but it is the Pectoralis Minor. Pectoralis Minor starts down here and goes to here, or in the case of breathing, forced inhalation, it starts here and goes to the ribs and lifts the ribs up. Okay, 3 things, let's count them again. Short head of biceps, coracobrachialis, they actually share a tendon. This tendon right here and right here is actually the same tendon. They're sharing a tendon. And then the third one is the Pectoralis Minor. Okay, biceps, short head, coracobrachialis, and Pectoralis Minor. Okay, it turns out that this guy right here, the long and the short head, are going to come together, and they're going to go right here to the insertion. And let's take a look at the insertion right here. It's going to go by a common tendon to the radial tuberosity. What is the radial tuberosity? It's on the radius. Okay, so it's on the radial. Do you see it right there? It's hard to make it out, and they don't make it look so clear. Okay, but it's coming down and it's going to this spot right here. Okay, so it's going to the radial tuberosity, and it's going to pull on the radius. And so biceps actually is not touching the humerus at all. It's bypassing the humerus, and it's traveling over the top of brachialis. Brachialis is the one that actually is doing most of the work when it comes to flexing the elbow. Why is that? Is because the elbow fundamentally is made from the humerus and from the ulna, right? And it actually has that C-shaped joint right here. Okay, so it's got a nicely shaped joint. It's got this muscle that goes right from here on the humerus to right over here on the coronoid process. Let's make sure that we have that right. Coronoid process is the insertion. The origin is the front side of the humerus there. Okay, and it's a bigger muscle. If you take a look at individuals who go to the gym and practice their repetitions on this particular area of the body, and they say that they're working on their biceps, but in fact the biceps is relatively small and superficial and riding on top of this really much bigger muscle, okay, the brachialis, which does the real flexing of the elbow because it's got this correct attachment site to the actual bones of the elbow. Here we're going from actually the scapula, and we're bypassing the humerus completely, and we're going over to the radius. Okay, so if that's your attachment sites, then you're sort of only indirectly flexing the elbow. So it's something to keep in mind. Okay, it's synergistic. One could say it's synergistic with brachialis. And let's see how they define the action here. It is the major forearm flexor. That is to say, it's the main thing that flexes the elbow. Okay, so over here we have flexing the elbow. Now this is biceps, this is brachialis. So brachialis is the major flexor of the elbow, whereas biceps is going to flex the elbow and supinate the forearm. So it's actually going to pull the radius this way. We're supinating, okay, like that. Okay, so that's basically the deal right there, both musculocutaneous. So we just figured out all of the musculocutaneous guys, just the way you like it. Okay, and then we're going to be considering then triceps. Triceps, which is also listed on this page right here, triceps, is going to start from the infraglenoid tubercle, which is the bottom of the glenoid fossa, infraglenoid tubercle of the scapula, and it's going to go by a common tendon to the Olecranon. Now there's going to be 3 heads, so there's going to be 3 origins. Okay, only one of them crosses the shoulder, and that's the long head. The rest of it, posterior and the medial heads, are going to go on either side of the deltoid portion that's sticking out on the back and causing the radial groove to appear. So it's the above and below the deltoid tuberosity. Above the deltoid tuberosity posterior, medial below the deltoid tuberosity. Okay, and we have to go to the preceding page to take a look here at how this works. See, this is the posterior arm, not the forearm, the arm. And we have 3 things going on here. Okay, what are the 3 things? We have the long head. Here's the long head. Where is it going to? It's going to the infraglenoid tuberosity. It's actually splitting also the teres minor and teres major. Do you see that? Teres minor going on the outside here of the humerus, and teres major going inside and joining up with a common tendon with the latissimus dorsi. Remember that for the rest of your life. Okay, and then we have this little space here through which the long head of triceps is splitting these 2 teres brothers or sisters, minor and major. Okay, and then we have the posterior, and where are we here? The heads of, why are they calling? Okay, so where's our medial head? The medial head is down here. The lateral head is up here. Let's take a look again at our little page right here, and notice that we have the lateral head is on the posterior shaft above the deltoid tuberosity. The medial head is below. They don't say that, but I'm just sort of indicating to you so that you can find it when you're looking at a humerus. Okay, so right here we have the lateral head, and hidden from view for the most part is the medial head, which is really coming underneath the sort of deep to the long head. It's underneath here, you could say. Okay, at any rate, the 1, 2, and 3 are all coming together to form a single tendon, which inserts onto the Olecranon process. This is the Olecranon. If you're leaning on your elbow, you're leaning on the Olecranon. It pulls it and extends the elbow. So that's what it does for a living. Okay, and we can check that answer right here in terms of action. It is the powerful forearm extensor. I prefer if they don't say that, actually. I prefer if they name the joint elbow. And yes, it's going to flex the forearm at the elbow. So it's the prime mover. Okay, it is the radial nerve innervating it.